Oh!
My friends, the wait is over. It is here. That's right. Every ground loot weapon in Season 2 Cold War with every attachment. This season, they gave us a mix of some new Cold War ground loot and old ones from Season 1, sprinkled with a few older and newer modern warfare ground loot. It's certainly setting up to be an exciting new set of ground loot weapons this season. We're going to take a look at the attachments as well as give my early thoughts on each gun. I also did some recoil testing for each of the new ground loot weapons to give us even more info to work with. I do apologize in advance. Not all the recoil tests are as clear as accurate as I'd hoped for. Sometimes I just couldn't find a good place to shoot them. Obviously, attachments are still constantly changing or being fine-tuned, so I try to factor that in, given that we can't fully rely on attachments doing what they should be doing at this time. Like last season, yellow means I'm not 100% certain about the attachment, but it's likely that that's what it is. Red means it's an educated guess, and I can't really confirm. Often the barrels and grips fall into these categories. The tier list is coming soon, maybe this week or the next, so stay tuned. If you want to know when that drops, please subscribe. If you aren't already, we hit our 50 sub goal with time to spare, so thank you so much for the support. You guys have been amazing. The sub goal is now 100. Also, the like goal for this video is 100. The last attachment video hit about 70, so let's get that 100. Thank you guys so much. Let's get into it. All right, so for the SMGs, on the whole, it's looking a bit weaker than last season when we had a ton of awesome options, the MAC-10s, the MP7, MP5, but there are definitely a few potential standouts, including the new Modern Warfare weapon, the CX-9, and a challenger to the FFAR mantle in the uncommon Bullfrog. But let's start with the Milano, which we know from last season. The Milano has pretty bad TTK. Some of you guys like the stone's throw. I think it had a better bullet velocity, so you felt like it was a little more hit scanny up close, and the barrel that it has is supposed to help with bullet velocity, but I think in the end, common, uncommon, definitely C tier, not a very good weapon. The rare stone's throw, maybe low B. Next, the Bullfrog, which is an meta SMG at the moment. Both versions of the Bullfrog, the uncommon version and the rare version, are suppressed. Recoil is up and to the left for both, so manageable. The rare, called the Motorcade, has a barrel that's supposed to help with bullet velocity. They're both looking like potential S tier candidates for me, even the uncommon. They're suppressed, they have good TTK, high mag size. FFAR or a Bullfrog is going to be a great debate this season on which one to pick up. All right, next we've got the Tonkatsu, a rare P90. It's got a Merc thermal. For me, the Solo Zero on the Harpy grew on me over time. I'm not sure about the color scheme on this one. Recoil's up and to the right. It's 50 rounds suppressed. I'm going to probably start in the low A tier. That optic may bring it down or bring it up, so we'll adjust from there. All right, the Ace K74Us. A lot of you love the Field Agent. I think the AK-74 obviously has a very good bullet velocity. I think it's very consistent. It's not suppressed. 40 rounds is okay. For me, it's high B tier. Big Trouble, it's just similar, just a little more ammo. They're both high B tier for me because they're not suppressed and their TTKs are, it's okay, not the greatest. LC10, it's a brand new gun for season 2. TTK seems to be in line with the MP7 AK-74, so not the best. Neither version is suppressed. They both have pretty low ammo capacity, 34 rounds. Recoil is kind of to the right first, then comes back to the center. They have a good sight in the hollow optic. I think, yeah, that low mag, not great TTK combo kind of holds it back. So it's probably low B tier, possibly drops even to high C tier if there's a lot of competitive weapons this season. All right, next we have the Uzi. Both have the Epic version and the Legendary version have the 41 AE conversion kit. These bullets are more mid to long range bullets, higher damage than the standard Uzi bullets. Both guns are suppressed. The Epic, the Haunt, has the Carbine Pro barrel for longer range. The Legendary has a Merc foregrip for hipfire. Again, they forced the thermal optics on us. but I mean, these are supposed to be more mid-range SMGs. 32 rounds only. For the legendary, I apologize. I realized when I started to edit the video that I did not actually have footage of it. I had actually seen it in another YouTuber's gameplay and charted it. You have the attachments there, and the recoil plot should be pretty similar. Both are probably B tier. There's because of their suppression, but pretty poor ammo capacity. Onto the MP5, Cold War MP5. Obviously a very strong gun, great TTK. Epic version they kind of ruined. It's got an axial 3x on it, just very zoomed in. Probably gonna put it in the high B because of that. You know, you want to be able to snap on ADS, but then you're so zoomed in. Krig has this problem as well. The legendary is suppressed, has a bigger mag, and doesn't have the 3x. It's got the Hawksmoor optic, so it's definitely an S tier candidate because that's, you know, SMG, great TTK, suppressed, big mag, fine, okay sights. Recoil is pretty much straight up for both. Silent motive, definitely could be S tier. And finally, the CX9 Serac. It's one of the new Modern Warfare guns that aren't even out yet. But True Game Data just released a video. He basically used the groundling versions of the CX9 and RAL, it's another new gun, to determine the TTK. And he found that the TTK is competitive with the Mag 10. It has good mag capacity, 50 rounds, solid sight. The barrel has a built-in suppressor. You can see the recoils up and to the right. It's definitely an S tier candidate. A suppressed Mag 10 would be definitely the best ground loot of the season candidate, and so we'll see. I'm definitely wanting to get my hands on one of these. All right, on to the ARs. The favorites are back, the FFAR, XM4, but the higher end ARs are lacking. Though the QBZ, and we'll talk, could be a good one. Look, the FFAR, you know it, you love it. Amazing TTK, availability everywhere. It is low A tier because it's not suppressed and has a low mag, but it's S tier in our hearts. The rare version has a faster ADS, but all versions are effective, even the common version. As I mentioned before, this or the Bullfrog is going to be a great debate. Right now, I'm leaning towards the Bullfrog due to the suppression and mag size. The XM4 seems seemingly an love-and-hate affair. A lot of you, I don't know if it's the iron sights. Some of you think it's complete trash. I'm in the love camp. Suppressed 60 rounds. It was S tier last season for me. Think it's still going to be S tier, low S tier this season. The uncommon version, I think it's going to drop down to high B because that mag capacity is a bit lacking. The Krig 6, not the biggest fan. Some of you really like the Krig 6. I think I should do some recoil testing to kind of know the pattern better. It's definitely a lot of vertical recoil, but does feel good in a specific range. You know, they both have very zoomed in scopes, but still prop B tier for me. It's not suppressed, not great TTK. You get blasted by a common FFAR up close, so it's okay. QBZ, this is interesting. Both are suppressed, though it's their agency suppressors, so those are broken at the moment as they reduce your bullet velocity instead of helping. That's supposed to be fixed at some point, so we'll see, kind of revisit that when it gets fixed. The Epic only has 30 rounds. The Legendary has 60 rounds. Both have the same scope, which I'm not a huge fan of because it kind of blocks your peripheral, but for 60 rounds suppressed, you make it work. QBZ is known for minimal recoil, pretty poor TTK up close, long range okay. Kind of feeling like it's a souvenir with a little more range, so maybe low S tier, maybe A tier. The Epic low A, high B, we'll have to see. FR556, it's back. Also a third season. It's been here since season 6, season 1, now season 2. As I've kind of mentioned in past videos, it's grown on me. Used to be low C tier, now it's high C tier. Use it single shot for mid-range, burst, or single shot up close. 40 damage per bullet. Solo zero is helpful early on. And most people don't run cold-blooded in their loadouts. Probably still high C tier though. FARA 83, new gun, new flashy camo. TTK is competitive. 60 rounds, not suppressed. The recoil's pretty wicked. It goes right, then left, and right. That's why a lot of people are just talking about it as a sniper support. Probably short range only. Might get into the low A tier or high B tier. We'll have to see how it kind of competes against the FFAR. ASVAL. Before you get excited, it's the 10 round conversion. So yeah, I've never used 10 round conversion, but single shots, 10 rounds, it's gonna be rough unless you're hacking. pro aim, it's probably C tier. All right, the LMGs. Now, if you're an LMG fan, you're going to be in heaven this season. And even if you're not, you're going to want to become one, because the LMG category is stacked top to bottom. Stoner, RPD, PKM, and the new Rook LMG. There are options at every level. The Stoner 63. This is it, folks. You grab an FFAR or a Bullfrog, and then you have a Stoner, and you are set. You saw in the intro highlights, this is the starter kit for every match. The common Stoner is ridiculous. The Stoner has great TTK at all ranges, and with the iron sights, this thing is a beam of death, short to mid. And then the uncommon and rare have the SAS combat stock, greatly helps your movement speed while aiming. Straight up recoil, just pull down. Again, none of them are suppressed really. I think the rare has a SOCOM eliminator, so maybe shortly you're on the radar, but they're going to be A tier, but they are definitely going to be S tier in your heart. And hey, maybe you want the enemies to come so you can mow them down with your Stoner. RPD. I love the RPD. I made a video of it for last season, so you can imagine my joy when I found out there are 4 versions in this season. That's the first time since I've been tracking ground loot that I've seen a gun have 4 different levels. They decided to put a GRU suppressor on the uncommon version. It's mind-blowing. But in reality though, I think I'm still taking the Stoner because of the TTK advantage. But the RPD is really good, and if you need suppression, you pick it up over the Stoner, you'll be fine. Recoil is great. You can see it's got a very short vertical, then it kind of settles in. The rare and epic are suppressed. The epic, the Wave Lord, what a great name, has a Silix Hollow Scout. The rare and legendary versions have 150 round mags. Plenty of options. You want high mag, you want suppressed, you want whatever, different situations. But I think the Wave Lord will reign as the best RPD, as the name suggests. It's going to be A tier for sure, S tier depending on how good it is at those 100+ meter ranges. That's what made that Smithy so great. You could beam 100 meters out. The M60. It's not great, Bob. Poor TTK, weird recoil blob. Likely just a gun. Not too hopeful for this one. Solid sights, but it's going to be rough at range. And obviously, it's an LMG. You're going to be beat by a common Stoner. So not probably just a gun, C tier. PKM, another LMGer's fan favorite. Very good TTK at mid to long. The epic version has the best barrel and a snatch grip, so this is going to be a long range beamer. Unfortunately, no suppression, and you may not want that solo 0 thermal scope, so maybe love hate. But for me, low A tier, because it's probably going to be really good mid to long. The legendary is not as good, just like the Bruin last 2 seasons. The epic version is going to be better, and the legendary is not really catered for long range, so it's probably going to be C tier. The Rook, the RAL MG. It's one of the unreleased Modern Warfare weapons. The TTK is highly competitive based on True Game Data's video. It's in line with the AMAX, and other YouTubers starting to put out these, yo, the RAL MG is crazy, dog, videos. Recoil does seem pretty manageable. It's like a straight vertical, not that high. It's got a huge mag. I believe the monocore muzzle is a suppressor, but again, since the gun isn't out, I'm not 100% sure. It's definitely got S tier potential if it's a laser at 100 meters. If not, A tier because it's pretty slow handling. LMG. TAC rifles. We have TAC rifles. First time. I was pretty pumped at first because, you know, M16 AUG are all the rage these days. But it's a little different with ground loot. Things are usually up close. You miss a burst here or there, you're going to find yourself dead pretty quick to the FFAR Bullfrog Stoners of the world. M16 comes in 3 versions. And if you're an M16 stan, you've got great amazing aim with it, probably have a field day. For the rest of us, we're probably going to rock the aforementioned FFAR Bullfrog Stoner. None of them are suppressed. They're probably B tier for me, higher for some. I think they're just going to be a little inconsistent. You might get a 3-shot burst to a 2-plated enemy and think, oh my god, this is the greatest gun ever. And then another time, you're going to miss a couple of bursts, you're going to die. So, we'll see. Type 63. 2 versions, epic. The barrel that it has up until now has hurt. Bullet velocity. This could be okay against 2-player enemies, but again, like the M16, I'm kind of wary about missing shots up close. And it's got poor bullet velocity, so I don't think it's very good long. The legendary has an optic that may make it more of a close range option. Neither is suppressed. Yeah, it could be B or C tier depending on your preference. The AUG. Now these are interesting. They both have high mag capacity, 54 rounds. The Epic version, the Sea Lurker, has a axial 3x. So that's a potential advantage over the Legendary, which I think just has the Cobra Dot. The Legendary should have a faster fire rate due to the barrel that it has, but neither is suppressed. So I think they're going to be low A tier, high B tier, depending on viability up close. On to the sniper rifles / marksman rifles. Pretty slim pickings. They got rid of the Kar 98s, the AX50s, MK2s. So basically, you got the Pelington 803. There were a lot of hate for the ground loot version last season, even though YouTubers were touting the loadout version. Towards the end of the season, I did feel it was working a little better. I think some were saying at the beginning of the season the hits weren't registering, but towards the end, I was getting, you know, I'm not hitting 150 meter shots, but anything under 100 meters, it was hitting the head. Both the uncommon and rare versions have barrels that should help with the bullet velocity, but again, you know, that's not certain. None of them are suppressed. I think they're usable. I think they're B tier for me. The LW3 Tundra, the Epic Barrel Hunter version is more for mid-range. Doesn't have any kind of attachments to help the bullet velocity. The Legendary, if the barrel works properly, would be good for longer ranges. So the Epic would be kind of a B tier. The Cursed Bouillon, the Legendary, could be A tier if it can hit those 200 meter shots. Neither is suppressed. We've got an SPR this season. Now this is interesting. It has a monolithic. It has a short barrel, but the short barrel increases bullet velocity and range. So does the Lapua rounds. This could be really good, like S tier good if it can hit 200 meter suppressed shots. So we'll see. Next, the pistols. Diamattis still rule. The Diamatti is still the king of the pistols. Still great up close. There's not much of a difference between the three versions. It's high to mid B tier. It's still hard to take over the FFAR or other readily available full autos. The Bullfrog now, like even now the R9 is a uncommon version. There's a lot of choices. The Renetti, it's a new Epic version that's a slight upgrade over last season's Epic version. It's got a lightweight trigger now. Definitely better than X16. Maybe competitive against a Hauer Milano, but it's probably still high D tier for me. The 1911, the same guns, but they decided to change the name of the Legendary one. It's now Teal Drop, not Teal Steel. But otherwise, the same guns as last season. They're better than X16, but actually the Epic maybe not because it only has 8 rounds, but depends on your preference. Cold War Magnum, I can't recommend a slow firing pistol. I don't even bother. Shotguns. All I can say is the devs really want us to use shotguns because they stacked shotguns this season. Still got the Origins, Gallo, R9, even a Jack 12. So the close range arena is going to be packed. Should make for some fun drops. The Hauer, surprisingly okay hip fire to me, is definitely more reliable than the Model 680, but it's just C tier. You know, it's situational. You've got the drop on someone, you can run up behind them, bang bang, it'll work. R9, it's back. Doesn't have Dragon's Breath. Both versions are suppressed, and the rare one, the Finger Trap, has the best barrel and 18 rounds. So used strategically, it could be an alternative to the FFAR or other close range options if you like shotties. It's going to be a B tier because the R9 doesn't have as fast a TTK, especially if you don't, I mean, you can't one tap. It's going to take 2 taps. So it's got a slower TTK than the Origin Gallo Jack. It is suppressed though. It's probably going to end up high B tier, but we'll see. Origin 12, 3 seasons strong. There's a dev out there that loves Origins. You guys know it. Great ground loot. It's the strong SMG meta right now that keeps any shotgun probably from entering the S tier, but this can definitely be a monster early on if you're suppressed. It's got meta attachments, enough bullets, great guns, A tier. The Gallo, it's got super fast fire rate, but that's also a downside in that it has low mag. That kind of keeps it from reaching A tier. It's kind of like the Fennec of shotguns, probably high B tier. Legendary might sneak into A, but I you know, typically it takes 6-7 rounds for me to eliminate a fully plated enemy, so you're left with 3 rounds. It's pretty slow reloading, so yeah, I think it's B tier. Finally, the Jack 12. You know, season 6, I used the Jack a lot. Season 1 brought in SMG meta, so I can't really run the Jack anymore. But now they've got a 32 round choked monster lurking in the beginning of the game. It's not suppressed, but it's not as big an issue when you're playing squads. Probably low A tier due to that incredible ammo capacity. So this gun should be a lot of fun, especially in squads, if you find it. All right, guys, if you made it to the end, you are a certified ground loot freak like me. It's definitely an exciting lineup of new guns to check out and put to the test this season. I think is going to be a good one. Tier list is coming soon. I am pumped to get into the rankings. So turn on those notifications and I'll catch you guys in the tier list video very soon.